Yeah, Kapanim, we're holding here by the end of the Keta Va'inyidu. And Kodev Aseret, I mean, he's going to go through, we'll comments with them that even the Gabi Kalim will also say Gilei Helim. Till now, the Arichs and Hemshech is going to get the Eira Mizgale, Eira Chesed, Eira Gvur. That the Zgal Solukus and Atzilis is a Damal Elin. His Daime is a Gilei Helim of the Insaf, the way of the air, the way it is Zuchinas Pshitas. Here the Uftu is, we're dealing with Kalim. Kalim is already in of Metzias, of Geder, of Chesed, Gvur Teferes, not his Galus Hamakir, his Galus Ha'etzim, the Tzura of Chesed, but the Inyan HaChesed Gufa. And the Inyan of Kalim is that Chesed Gufa is Inyan Aliki. And we spoke about this last time. So here he says even that there's a Uftu, L'gabi Atzilis, that it's even L'gabi the Kalim, that it's a Damal Elin. What's a Damal Elin? Not a Damal Elin, L'gabi the Ersh, L'gabi Lifnet Tzimtzum. Like it says, because before Tzimtzum is not Shayach L'sei Inyan of a Geder, of a Metzias outside of the Etzim. And the whole music of Kalim is that Mitzad Metzias, that Metzias is a Keli Telekus. So the whole idea of Kalim is that there's a Geder of an Inyan, which is not the Etzim. And the Ufta of Kalim is that even in that Metzias, even a Zulas is also a Keli Telekus. Metzias is also a Keli. But Mitzad Lifnei Tzimtzum, Mitzad the Tunu of Er, Mitzad the Tunu of Inyan of Gilev in Espashas without Tzimtzum, so there's no Nisina Smagam to the music of Geder, to the music of Metzias. There's only him. The Etzim is Ein Sof, and the Tunu says Spashas Vagilei is Ein Sof to Spashtuse. There's no Nisina Smagam for another Metzias. So the whole idea there's a music of a Geder of Metzias of Chacham V'Chet, which is not the Etzim, that's only Mitzad Tzimtzum. But Adam talked to the Uftu that after became we say that Atzilis is B'Deim is Adam al Elin Ta'ak. So you can explain exactly what's the flow of Adam Kadmin, what's the mile of Adam Kadmin, and what's the pshat that Atzilis is Adam al Elin Ta'ak. So the Kodesh we're holding now is that he says there's two pchinas of Ratzin. It brings the Nasal Nefesh Adam, there's Ratzin Hanelam and Ratzin Agoli. If I call the difference is, Ratzin Agoli is that Kipshute, that the Nefesh, before Ratzin is Nefesh, the way the Nefesh is in its own Atzmius. The Nefesh is mufshit from a Shaychas Tamitzias. That's the way the Nefesh is beyond the Tunu of Ratzin. That's a Nefesh. Ratzin Goli is that the Nefesh is now in a mode of Eirus and being Nimshach, being drawn towards something. So you have the way the Nefesh is mufshit from that Inyan. And you have the way the Nefesh is already in a Tnuah of Hamshach. It's already in a mode of being Nimshach, and it's demanding a certain thing. So it's already the diet of the Nefesh in Ratzin Goli is the Nefesh already has a Shaychas Tamitzias. A Shaychas in a way of Ratzin, not a Shaychas in a way of Kichas Pnimim, but a Shaychas in a way of Ratzin that's also considered a Shaychas that's already a Yitzzi of the Etzim Nefesh. The Nefesh is the Atzmos Mufshit, the Nefesh is its own Mohos, the way it's Mufshit from any Shaychas to any Mitzias outside of it. And Ratzin is the Nefesh is Nis'eir of a Nimshach to a certain Mitzias. Mashik and Ratzin Nelam is the way it is in the Etzim Nefesh. The Nefesh, the way it is Vipshitusa, and there is Oliver Tzaina that will be massive for its Mohos, a certain Inyan. So the Nefesh is be higher. Before it's in the mode of being Nimshach or something, before it's in the mode of being Nis'eir and being Nimshach. The Nefesh is Batzmusa, so there's a Ratzin Hanel and Ba'atzmis Nefesh that Legabi, that is all bedaite that this Inyan would suit him. So there, it's not that the whole gather of the Ratzin over there is, it's all avert in the Nefesh. It's not that he's in a Tnu of Meshicha klapid the Metzias. He's not in a Tnu of being Nimshach to this Chayfetz. It's all the whole Inyan Ratzin is only what's negate to the Etzim. That for Shleimus of its Mohos, this Inyan would be mashlim, would be Meisiv a Shleimus in his Mohos. But any Tnu of Yitziyah Mi'ah Etzim, that type of Inyan you don't have in Ratzin Hanelam. Ratzin Hanelam is the way the Ratzin is kolol in the Etzim. Yeah, we spoke about this last time. Just look at that. Yeah, we went through this. So upon the Hemshech that he says is, but there when you have a mocker and a dover hanimshach from a mocker, so you have, let's say, there's a keich hamaskel, let's say it's the mocker of seichel. So how is the seichel nimshach from keich hamaskel? So any keich, you have the keich hatnua shebiyad, you have the person that throws a stone, let's say. So you have the keich hatnua, and then you have the keich hatnua the way it's not active, the way it's a keich in the yad to move things, and you have the keich hatnua the way it's activating something. So how does it work? Because the keich, the potential is in a when it's not in a mode of materializing its potential, it's not in a mode of activating its keich. It's b'teich atzmei. then there's not going to be any pula that's going to come. In order for the pula to come, the keach has to be in a tnua of being mahava pula, of activating the union. So I'll tell you, Ratzon and Elam, azay the nefesh is mufshit from a shaychus to mitzvahs. From Vana Takaver that the nefesh is nimshach and there's a Ratzon goli towards a certain union. The shayrish is because there's a Ratzon and Elam be'etzem nefesh. Because be'etzem nafshi, that union is mashlemim. There's a Ratzon be'etzem nafshi for this union. That's the cause that the nefesh is later nimshach and there's a Ratzon goli towards the union. So the sibba, why the nefesh is nisayir and nimshach to the chayvus is mitzad the Ratzon and Elam. But how it became Zakter, it's not a naif, and Aziv will get tracht, will be in a regular way a marker brings it Eitzah, is that the same is when you get to any Keach or Peil. So, Keach HaSeichel. Azir Keach HaSeichel, Mensch Chveis, is not ma'ayin in anything, let's say. So you have a Keach HaSeichel, but it's not being used. How does the Hashpah come? Because the Keach, which is the marker for the Hashpah, is in a state of his Eirus, is being Nimshach, Ertut, get ma'ayin zayin. He's going to use out its Keach. So Adar I Ratzon Elam. You have the Ratzon the way it's Be'etzem HaNefesh. And the way it's better than nefesh, what kein ratzon ish gevarn. Then you have the same. You have a keich haseichel, but it's not on a tnu of pu'ula, not on a tnu of being me'ayda that a pu'ula should come. So there's not going to be any pu'ula in any ashpa based on the mitzad the ratzon the way it is be'etzem nafshi. But when the ratzon, so vivert the ratzon agoli, so the ratzon hanelam is misayder and is activates that the ratzon should actualize itself in pile, and is nisayder that the nefesh should be reitz of nimshach to the inyan. As if it would be like a regular keich. Of them sagt das nicht, that the ratzon hanelam bleibt a davar hanelam be'etzem nefesh. It's not in a state of that it's nisayder that it should be that the ratzon should be materialized, and it stays nelam be'etzem nefesh. And Ava became that the tnu of ratzon goli, it's a sibba, but it's not in a sibba in a way that it's miskardiv to be me'ayder and mamshech the ratzon goli. It's a sibba that stays behelim. Well, let's just see it inside. You see v'meyes. You see where it is. The line starts. There's two lines that start shaykh. The second line that starts shaykh. You get the beginning. It says imeyesh aliyah ratzon hamuchlet hazeh. Meser hagem chinas ratzon goli v'davar hazeh. The nefesh is nimshach to a certain inyan. Vana hates the son that the nefesh is nimshach. You say cholomidus. A person is affected by a certain inyan. Why did that begin? That the type of this chayfetz was meishachim, because it doesn't start from midas. Midas is already, once you're in a state of being affected by things, you can be affected by the teva davar. That begins, but that your seichel told you that it's a good thing. That you yourself analyzed, and to you yourself, before you were in a state of being affected by the type, you, when you were still in your own mode, you came to the conclusion that it's a good thing. Once you came to the conclusion that it's a good thing, then it evolves and you're going to be affected by the good. Oh, there's a ratzon goli. The person is in a state of being nimshach. He's ratz v'nimshach to a certain thing. Where did that begin? Because before he was ratz v'nimshach, be'etzem nafshe, there's like he has a shaychus to that. There's a ratzon nelam be'etzem nefesh. It says, so ime yesh idea ratzon muchlat zemeser chaykem chinas ratzon goli b'davar hazeh. Without the ratzon muchlat, there wouldn't have been a ratzon goli. Since it's a ratzon nelam ba'etzem nafshe, v'huchlat ba'atzmi liyiskam shum zeneser chaykem ratzon goli b'zeh. It's not like a regular eifun when you have a makar and a titzah, or a sibba and a nifal, where like I said before, the keich haseichel, the reason why the keich haseichel, or the keich hatnua, is going to, you have the keich where it's in a state of a keich, where it's not affecting anything, and you have a keich where it's in a state of pu'ula. That's all two matzavim in the keich. When the keich is in its own initial state of not, when it's not activated, so the keich is nanelim the keifin, then there's where the keich is activating itself. When it's going and it's being pale. So there's two tnuos and ratzon elam. You have the way the ratzon is, the way the never is in the state of when the never is in the state of etzem, and there he has a shaychus to reading, and that's not shaychus to pale because the never is mufshit from pale, and you have that ratzon which is muchad be'etzem nafshi is misayder and is nimshach and is pearl. There should be a ratzon gal. The ratzon elam is nisgala. And it's eider, and it's nimshah that it should materialize itself. Avdem Dr. Snishta say. The ratzon elam always stays mufshit from the pile. Ratzon muchad nishur kol behelam ba'atzmusei. It says kizeh shem is eider by ratzon goli. Ain't that ratzon muchlad ba'mehelam like. It's not like that. And then he brings a raya why. heard where he's going to. So that's like this. He says, "Kol Hemshech mehelim alagilei yedua shezeh mehashem l'masir l'havi sagilei." Every Hemshech, you have a davar the way it's behelim first, and then severt is gala. Vivert is gala. That's because the helim is the one that brings the gilei. It's not that there's a helim was life helim and severt gilei ergets. The reason the gilei stems from the helim because the helim was nesayr these galas. Yeah, they say a regular simple dogma. You have a keich hatnua shebiyad. The keich hatnua, this keich was in a state of a potential state, a state of helim, and then this keich was nesayr v'nimshach legilei. The gilei is not that this keich stays behelim and it affects something else to be in his gal. This keich kuf is in his gal. That's what the way every Hemshech mehelim al gilei is. He says here is different. He starts going into the. He says like this: you have ilah va'olol, and you have a savas yeshma'in. He says ilah va'olol who is galish be'erech ilah. Yeah. So he brings a zasas bertazei. He says when you have one eifin that you have a makkah which is in a way of a siba, but he himself is not necessarily v'nimshach li'izgalis, and you have a makkah in a eifin of ilah va'olol. As a seichel amidus, for example. Here, seichel amidus is al derech not like ratzan elam or ratzan agoli. Is mechalikis you have seichel amidus that a person understands that something is good. Now, in order for there to be a seichel salev, so if a person is going to understand if the seichel is going to be a seichel mufshit, it's going to be an abstract havana to think is good, but it's not going to be nirgash b'kirav la'adam that it's a good thing. It's not going to be peil b'libay. The seichel has to be in a way that the heart should be margish that it's a good azach. The fact that ergets vu p'sachveisen meichen hamuvdol me'amidis, it's an abstract seichel, it's a good thing. That's not going to affect his heart to be nimshach b'ratzin after the teva davar. The which has the seichel versteht, but it's a zamen start havana which is b'kirav halalev, that the lev is margish to maskanas seichel. Then there's going to be the Hiladas Amidus. So what causes the Gila Amidus is, what causes the Olul is the Ilah is made of the Olul. What causes the Olul is the fact that the Ilah is miskarif to the Olul. You say in a simple dogma. You say you have the same way you understand when you get to Rav Talmud, it's the same thing when you get to Seichel Amidus. It's the same thing as when you get to every Ashpa, which is Be'erich. You have the Rav wants a Talmud to understand the Indian. So the Rav is going to have to be Mekar of the Indian that should be Behesed to the Talmud. If the Rav won't be Mekar of the Indian is going to stay mufshit from the Talmud. So the Talmud doesn't have the Indian. He's not going to have it. What's the mucker that this Indian happens? The mucker is from the Elgin. If the mucker is from the Elgin, so the order for the Tachten should be affected by the Elgin has to be Meskara to the Tachten. But that is, he says, this klal is only shaykh by Hemshech of Ilah. Hemshech of is. So if the Olu, the Teitzah, has an erech, it has a relation to the Ilah. Saying what you say seichel amidus. Why is it that it's at seichel when a person understands that something is good, he's going to have an abba towards the Indian? Because that's it makes sense to be such a result. It's better. But shas you understand that something is good, the havana that it's good is a cause that you should be drawn to the good of the Indian. The teva advarim is that the Ava is nimshach to the toiv of the Indian. When someone their hears that something is good, the natural result is going to be that he's going to have a tnu of tshuka v'cheshik towards the Indian. So the reason why b'shaseichel understands that something is good, the midas are nes'eir v'nimshach to the Indian, is because there's a connection between these two things. The midas is zaman sartzach, which it's characteristic they should be affected by seichel. And seichel is something which the maskana of seichel affects midas. If seichel would be, if you can have the same, you understand. If someone's going to understand that something is a davar mos, it's not going to be me'erer ava. The maskana that azach is nishkin good azach, it's not going to be me'erer tnu of tshuka v'kiruf towards the Indian. There's no shaykhis. B'shas you understand that something is good. The teva midas is that is nimshach la'achar adavar tev, la'achar something good. So if you want the leaf to be nes'erer with a midas ava, how is the leif nes'erer to midas ava? B'shas the leif is margish that the thing is a davar tev. So then he's going to be nimshach. He's going to be nimshach for a ratzin l'kiruf te'esei davar. How is it going to be margish that it's good? The alien has to be bav and nimshach elav. if the tachten, the reason why the tachten is nizgale, or the tachten is affected, is because there's a shaykhs in him and the alien. So the only way for the tachten to be taka affected by the alien is if the alien is miskarfted. If the alien blind by Elami, the tachten is not going to be affected. I verstehe the meaning. Huh? It says, Ila valu is galda sheba erech ila. The fish efen am shach vez galda hu bekiruf. She'ila mislabeshes bezel havi yisalo. Yeah, there's a certain point that I'm not bringing out. Ukumei kol maniya misnaneh ba'atzmei. The cause of chinas ila valu daf glis is galda sa'olul hu adei tnuas v'yis'eir she'ila sh'mislabesh bezel havi yisalo. Why are the midas misgala min haseichel? Why la'achri you understand something is good? Is there a tnu of ava? Because that's be'erech. That's be'erech ila. That's behemshech to the inyan of the ila. Behemshech to understanding that something is good as an extension or a completion of that. When you understand something is good, it makes sense to have a tnu of meshicha v'kiruv towards the inyan. So the a davar toiv, what is ava? Ava is not stam that you like something. You like the good of the inyan. I mean, b'shas your margash that something's good, you're nis'er with a teva of meshicha and kiruv to the inyan. So in order for there to be the tnu of ava, if the toiv, if the avanas haseichel, the toiv hadavar, bleibt in seichel amufshit, it's not nirgash believe the toiv hadavar, there won't be as galas amidus. Why not? Because only the reason why there's midas hanildim and haseichel, the reason why there's midas bizgalus is because the midas were margish, because the seichel was made with the midas. Means midas are something which stems from the seichel. Mitzad the teiv hadavar is nes'ered and av and akirib towards the inyan. So part of the midah is that it's something which comes as a result of seichel. So the only way the midah could be is if the seichel is nirgash in the midah. If the seichel is not nirgash in the midah, how's there going to be a midah? Understand what I mean? He's trying to bring out is if the gather of Ava was, if what I'm saying, if you have just to bring out this point, if you have a chveza sefer or anything, a chayvetz on the table, if Ava was that you like the chayvetz, you don't like the good of the chayvetz, you like a chayvetz. So then, what's the gather? The gather of Ava is not connected to seichel. The gather of Ava is a tnu of kiruv towards a something. Then you don't need seichel there. So Zavzain Ava. What's the pshat that seichel is meiled midas? Seichel is meiled. Why is seichel? It's not a separate. Why is seichel meiled midas? Because you don't like a thing. You like the goodness of the thing. The goodness is me'orer you to have a tnu of kiruv towards the thing. How do you know that something's good? That seichel teaches you that something's good. But the fact that the ava is not an ava towards an object. Ava is a regash of kiruv and of tshuka to the taiv of the inyan. So part of the ava is part of the ingredient of ava is seichel, because the taiva davar stamtachish from the leiv doesn't know what's good and what's not good. What tells the person what's good? The seichel tells you what's good, and that's part of the midas. So the only way the midas to be nizgale is if the seichel is misayren and to be nimshach in the midah. If the seichel is not necessarily to be nimshach in the midah, the seichel bleibt b'afshata v'tishverin kemidah. Because part of the midah is that a prat in the midah is the maskana of seichel. Versteht the meaning? It's a pashta zach. The same way when you get to Rav Talmud. The Rav is going to understand the Indian here, but the Talmud is verstehen. You want him to understand what is the Talmud understanding? The Svaras Harav. So the Svaras Harav has to enter the Talmud. Al derech zeh, what's a midah? A midah is not ava towards a chayfetz. A midah is something which is be'erech haseichel. What does it mean something which is be'erech haseichel? A midah is ava to the teiva davar, which is neveah from seichel, which the teiva davar is seichel. So if the seichel is not showing the midah that it's good, the seichel is not misayrer. Liskarev el amidis. So vivet a midah vern. What we're saying is midah is a tunu of, let's say seichel is a tunu of helen, or is a tunu of hafshat of mitzias, the fierach. He's being a dogma like a beratz and elam and ratz and gali. Seichel is more the abstract, objective truth of the Indian. Mashiach midas is more murgish, let's say. It's more it's more a tunu of you're affected by the thing. Seichel you're not affected, midas you're affected. So azebel again sagen, midas and seichel are two different dargas of the nefesh, let's say. Seichel is a darga of where the nefesh is mufshit from Mashiach to Metzias Shim B'chutz. If you want to use it as a dogma ratz and elam ratz and gali. Mashiach midas is the nefesh is in a lower mode, the way it's affected by things outside of it. So Zebot we can sagen that in order for there to be a midish belief, it's not that the seichel has to be miskarev to the world of midas. The seichel stays in the element of seichel, and the midas stays midas. It's two separate inyan. Adam zakas nishtase. Since this galus midas is be'erech haseichel, so that in order for the midas to be in his galed, this maskon of seichel has to be in a slavish midas. If the seichel is going to stay mufsh in a tnu of avshata, so the rakshas midas won't exist. The only way for the person to be with a tnu of tshuka v'kirav to the inyan is if he's margish that the thing is a good thing, the maskon of seichel. In order for the midas to be margish, seichel has to be the tnu of gilui, of a seirus. Versteht the meaning? It says mashink when you get to Ratzon Elam, Ratzon Goli, the get of Ratzon Goli and Ratzon Elam are two separate glories. It's not that Ratzon Goli is not by definition an extension to Ratzon Goli. It's a separate tonight. Only when there's Ratzon Hanelam you can have a Ratzon Goli. But it's not the pshat that the Ratzon Hanelam is natnu of Hamshacha and Gilui and affects the Ratzon Goli. Because when do you have this condition, so to speak, that in order for there to be Hamshacha v'Gilui from a Makar, the Makar has to be miskarif to the Gilui. That's when the Gilui is behemshech to the Makar. When the Gilui is an extension of the Makar, it's the inyan of the Makar being nisgali here. So then, if the Makar is natun of avshata, how you can have a Gilui? Mash'ekin if the Gilui is it's another gather. So you're saying Ratzon Goli is be'en arech to Ratzon Hanelam. There's no comparison between them. It's not be'erech. Ratzon Hanelam is the be'etzem nefesh. There's an ein arech between Ratzon Goli and Ratzon Hanelam. When there's an ein arech, so it's not shaykh to say a tnua of amshache that the Adar I that the Ratzon Hanelam is ma'ered and mamshach to Ratzon Goli. Is that the tnua cause he's trying to say? Let's see again.
What is the way to write? Why is the Ratzon?
Okay, well, that we'll see. We'll see in a minute. But just one is bringing the etzem word that he's saying. He says, "Kedu hefresh bin ilav al yeshma'ayin." Now he brings a dugma of ilav al yeshma'ayin. Ilav al is what's the yised achilik? His gala shebe'erech ilah. That means when the nifal, the amshacha is be'erech the ilah. That means what does be'erech mean? Be'erech means it's from the same caliber. Midis are an extension of seichel. It's not a separate entity. There's understanding that it's good, and as a result of registering that it's good, there's a true of shuka v'kiruv to the type of the eating. So it's be'erech. The regesh midis is be'erech ha-seichel. So in such a eifin, fisha eifin, what from vanet stammt es taka? Why is the olol of erech ha'ila? Because eifin amshacha v'az galus u'bekiruv. She'ila mistabeshes b'zelo hav-yisolo. The ila tutzach harayin as lever the olul. Means because what is the olul? The olul is an extension of the ila, not something else. Because in vasfara eifin was the olul nishava from the ila, because the ila lowers himself down to affect the olul. Like you use the dugma of Rav Talmud. In order for the Talmud to understand, the Rav has to lower his svara down to the Talmud. So then, what does the Talmud understand? A percentage of the svara Rav. If the Rav wouldn't lower himself down, you would give him something outside of him, so then it wouldn't be Be'erech HaRav. Why is the Talmud's understanding a little bit of the Rav? Because from Manan stand the Talmud's Avanim, because the Rav lowered himself down. As you say, when you get to Seichel Amidus, why is from Manan Kumt Amida? Because the Teiv Hadavar was nirgash till the heart. When the Teiv is nirgash until the heart, so now there's a tshuka to the Teiv Hadavar. It's not stam a tshuka towards the ava is there's an ingredient of seichel in the ava. Why is the ingredient of seichel in the ava? Because the eifin, his havas and midah is in a way that the seichel is milah the midah. Chazal p'nis ila ba'al dafke. Lias is galus Allah they tnu asaseri seila shemislabish b'zela havisal kumei seichel amidas shemidas is galam ana seichel ana de kafke kasher seichel mislabish b'zela haskal b'din amidas seichel umishum zemes havam is gala Allah ferich madrege seila. What does it mean the ayin is misla? He says, "Eina ayin mislabish v'zeh lahamtzi sayesh." Every his galus is like that. You say a person makes a tzir, for example. Let's say a person is being mitzayir a certain tzir. So there's a certain regesh in the tzir. He expresses himself through the tzir. How does he express himself? Because when he's not just doing a technical act. He is invested. He's investing his creativity in the tzir. The mele, the tzir contains his creativity. Why is the pu'ula the gilui lifi erech hamakar? Because the makar is mislabish in the pu'ula. But if his creativity would be nishabat, we'll say, and he wouldn't be investing himself to express himself in this tzir, then the tzir wouldn't be lefi erechim. So when is the shaykh to say slapshus? If the nifal is be'erech ha'ila, and it could be a keli to the slapshus ha'ila, the shaykh will say slapshus. But again, the Sabbath Shemayin, is the shaykh to say that the way the ayin is mahavad the yesh is by the ayin being miskarev to the yesh. They say the dvar of havaya. How does the dvar havaya affect that a niver should be created? The dvar havaya is he lowers himself down to become an ingredient in the yesh. The yesh ayin and the ayin are bein arich klal. If the ayin would be mislabish, what kemol shgavan can yesh, then it would stay ayin. The ayin v'yesh are hafkim. They're bein arich zemizeh. They're not be'erich. His slash is only shaykh to say if you have a Rav Talmud Shar be'erich, he wanted the Talmud to understand not the entire Havanas Harav, at least the me'ain of the Havanas Harav. So the Rav, the only way for the Talmud to understand the Rav, if the Rav invests himself a little bit of his svar, the Talmud should understand. So if he's investing himself, the Talmud will be able to behave a little bit. What if you have a Talmud which is be'ein arich to the Rav? So the shaykh to say the Rav should invest himself. If he's investing himself, so the inyan which is going to be nimshach through his slapshah is an inyan which is be'erka. A inyan which is shalei be'erka, it's not shaykh that he should be nirgash there. That he should be a prat in that inyan. Just to get to Kayach Opel, a person throwing a stone, so there's no slapshus in the pu'ula. The activity is that a stone flying. A stone flying is a physical thing, which is not a kelitan, it's not an inyan nafshi. So it's not shaykh to say that the nefesh is mislabish in a pu'ula gashmas. In a stone flying in the air. That's a physical reality, a technical reality. It's not shaykh to say there's you say someone being mitzayer at tzir. So it's not Shtama Davar Gashmi. There's a certain Yaifi in the tzir, a certain regash that can be expressed through the tzir. So that nekuda is a keli for the nefesh. So the nefesh is mislabish in that inyan, and a little bit of his seichel umidis is whatever's the fiarech the tzir is mislabish in the tzir. Mashiach, the person's doing a pula gashmis. He's throwing a stone. A stone is flying in the air. A stone flying, that phenomenon of a stone flying, is be'en arich to nefesh. And if it will be through a slapshus that the way that the stone is going to fly is by the nefesh being nirgash in the pula, so then it wouldn't be a pula gashmis. It would be a pula which has nefesh in it. If the eifin hais havos was in the way of kiruv, the way the nishava became is because the keach lowered himself down to be a prat in the pu'ula, to activate the pu'ula. If he would be a prat in the pu'ula, then the pu'ula wouldn't be be'en arechtim. Because if his inyan is nirgash there, that means that it's be'erechtim. Vashekin yesh ma'ayin, the yesh is be'en arech to the ayin. Versteht die Minute? So the ayin bleibt an ayin. The ayin stays in the world of ayin. And wie wird der yesh? Because hu amar vayei. Because he stays mufshit from the yesh, and there's something which is affected outside of him, which has no erech to it. It's not shaykh to say that the way the ayin is mahavad the yesh is by the ayin, by the yesh sensing its activity, sensing and being margish what's activating it. You're saying from van and verta mida, because seichel is meiled mida. If seichel is meiled mida, and it's not that I'm saying, we're not that I'm saying we use the same words, we use it for everything, so you don't realize that we say that till now I had no avid towards something. From to geworden mida save, because ich verstanden the zach is good. So what brought the mida? The seichel was meiled, was mahava mida. But so what's the pshat seichel? Why do you need seichel to be meiled the mida? Why do you need? Why without the seichel there's no midah, and with the seichel there is a midah? Stamazeh, without the heart feeling that something is good, there won't be an avid. For avid, you need to have it. You have to have that something's good, and then there's an avid. So you need the seichel in order for this thing to be nishav. You need the seichel there. Anish, without seichel, there's no midas. Mashayim when you get to yesh ma'ayin, a yesh is not. There's nothing in the yesh. It's not that without the ayin, the yesh can't exist without the ayin. That's something else, because it can't be without the makar. It can't be nishava without a makar. That's a different story. But we're not saying that. Not that a yesh, without the etzim geder of a yesh needs a makar. Understand what I'm saying? The difference between you say it needs a makar because how did it come by itself? someone has to create it. That's not what we're seeing out of here. That even by Yeshma'ayin, how does something come into being without anything causing it to happen? But we're doing something else. But Midas, not the Pshat. How did the Ava happen if there was nothing here? We're saying something else. Ava needs a Sibah. Ava needs Taif. So if the Seichel is not a Prat in the Ava, how's there going to be an Ava? Mashik in Yesh, what's a Yesh? It's not the Pshat. How could there be a Yesh if there's no Ayin in the Yesh? Ayin, it's a different gather b'chal. The Ayin is the Sibah Chitzainis for the Yesh. But he's not a Prat in the Mitzvah Yesh. That's his being Mechalik. So Mashik Mechnis Yesh Ma'ayin, Eina Ayin Mislabish B'zel Hamtzis Yesh. The Ayin is never miskardiv to the gather of Yesh, to the gather of Mitzvah of Yesh. The Ayin stays in Ayin. And Agam, the Ayin stays in Ayin, which is moved the Legamri from the gather of Yesh. Afa Bikain, the Yesh is in Saba. But not that the Ayin is mislabish in the Inyani of the Yesh. So B'derek, when you have a Mahava and a Mishava, since the Mahava is the Siba for the Mishava, what does it mean is the Siba? Not Stam Siba. By Yisechel, you have two Efanim of Mahava being a Siba for the Mishava. Or the Mahava Siba for the Mishava is because the whole gather of the Mishava is Hemshech to the Mehava. The whole content of the Mishava is Hemshech to the Mishava. So then, in such a Eifin, this Havos of the Mishava is in a way that the Mahava is Miskarif to the Davra Mishava. Mash'enga by Yashma'ayin, the gather of the Mishava has nothing to do with the Mahava. It's the reason why it exists. It's not a gather of its being. It's not a prat in its being.
Nothing to do with its most.
Yeah. So in such a Eifin, the Ayin always stays in the Mahos of Ayin, which is Be'ein Arech Legamri to the Yesh. And the way the Ayin is Be'ilomei, Verta Yesh.
How did that work?
That's not verstehen, but he says, Eina Ayin Mislabish B'zil Hamtzi Yesh. Kim Nasev and Esav Mene B'derech HaMeile. Shlei B'chim Nasa Slapshis B'ei. V'chin Esav Adesi Davar Shvein Arech. It's B'derech HaMeile. B'derech HaMeile means, say, the Ratzon Anelam bleibt the Ratzon Anelam. He's never miskardiv to the Tnuah Sagili. He's mufshet legamri from the Tnuah of Gili. Means the Etzem Mitzad Atzme is mufshet legamri from the Tnuah of Gili. And there's no erdach between the Etzem and the Gili. And Hagam, if there would be an erdach, so then there's no erdach. And Ava became B'derech HaMeile Verta Ratzon Agoli, without the Ratzon Anelam being miskardiv. That's what he says here. Just see the dugum. The brackets. It says the dugum kazes yuvim chinasas and muchat anal. Ima yesh hayadi nims of chinas ratzon agole, but ein ze sharatzon muchat miser mispal ba'atzmai. Not like by seichel midas, where the seichel is, since the midas are a teitzah of seichel. Means what's that the teitzah? That's the gather of the midas. It's not teitzah doesn't just mean. It's not that from vanet kumen midas coming from seichel. That's the gather of midas, a result of seichel. So if the gather of midas is a result of seichel, the seichel has to be nirgash in order for this thing to happen. If the seichel bleibt b'afshata, then it's not a result of it. The gather of midas is behemshech to the understanding, behemshech to the maskana that it's good. That's the gather of midas. If that's the gather of midas, so the seichel has to be nirgash. The seichel is bav and nimshach to the tnuah of gili. Mashik and Ratzon Goli is not an extension of the tnuah of Helen. It's two separate tnuahs lagamri. There's the inner, the way it is be'etzem nefesh, and then there's a separate happening that the Ratzon is in a tnuah of Hamshacha, which is not as galus of the inner the way it is be'etzem nafesh. But the way the inner is be'etzem, the inner is begoli, is two separate worlds. And then he's Ma'ir over here. He says, just to see this. He said, "Gedem Hechel in a Shaychel Ma'asadai. In a B'chinas Spilus, Vizgalus, Mamish Lishtayich Lapel, Kimu Behelim Ba'atzmi. Kashin Seir Ata B'Ratzon Agoli, as though it's Pas Sheichel Lapel, Makul Makul, Ein Zer Seir B'Nispal B'Ratzon Amuchad Loved Ratzon Agoli, Kimi Ratzon Hachodesh. It's a new Indian. B'Ratzon Amuchad Nisha Behelim Ba'atzmi, Kimi Kedem V'Rak Siba L'Ratzon Agoli V'Lei Yilei Elav. Yeah, that's the Nekuda that he says. So he brings a dogma for two Eifanim in his Havos. A dogma of there's a Eifan of his Havos where the Ila is miskarev to the Mishava. and that's only shaykh in a eifin where the mishave is be'erech the mahave, like a seichel amidus. So since the mishave is be'erech the mahave, or since this havas is behemshech tinyani of the elyon, means usually, just on another point, usually he starts the way I'm saying it the whole mitzvah tachna, but he starts off with the pnim. The way it is, what I'm saying is you have the mishave and you have the mihave. I'm saying it the hechach mitzvah the mishave. Since midas, it's not only that we say that midas comes from seichel, because that's a part of the ingredient of midas. A part of the ingredients of ava is the taiv of the inyan. So if the seichel is not melubish in the ava, how's there going to be an ava? It's not just a mucker because how did it come in a void? It has to have a source. It's not just has to have a source. Because everything, how could something just pop into existence from nowhere? It doesn't just has to have a source. That's the midas is an extension of the inyan. So if the inyan is shalei lefi erkei, how is it an extension of it? An extension means that the elyon was miskarev to be extended, to be nimsha, to be nispal. That's inside the tachton's point of view. There is inside the mehab. There's a mehab. The seichel is a mucker for midas. Why is the seichel a cause for midas? Because midas is an extension of the inyan seichel. From the seichel's point of view, why from the elyon vert azam esor teitzah? Why from the mucker vert azam esor teitzah? Why from seichel's midas? Because that's what results of seichel. As a result of seichel comes midas. So if the reason why midas vary from seichel, I'm saying from the elion's point of view, why is seichel a makkah for midas? Because the seichel that's an extension of seichel, because it's masim for seichel to be made with midas. So that's only going to happen if the seichel is in a mode of being a makkah for midas. But if the seichel is a tunov afshata for midas, so vivet design a makkah, then it's beyond being a makkah. Versteht the meaning? The same way, the reason why the tachton is mishaven is because a prat in the tachton is the elyon. Al derech zeh, why is the elyon a makkah? Because he's not still a makkah for something which has no shaykhis to him. Because the mishave, the thing which he's a makkah for, is a result of its inyan, and that's why it's a makkah. It's a makkah because this inyan is behemshech to his inyan. So that's only if the makkah is the tunu of kiruv to the amshach. Mashikin yesh ma'ayin, in both of these nekudas is not like that. Saying what's the reason why the yesh needs the ayin? Not because the ayin is a prat in the yesh. The yesh is shalei be'erech for the ayin, for a different reason. Because it can only exist because something has to make it. Not because the yesh is be'erech the ayin. That's number one. Also from the ayin's point of view, it's not a makir because the ayin is shaykh to the yesh. The reason why from the ayin verta yesh is not because the yesh expresses who the ayin is. It's because he has a yechelis to be mechadesh. It's a different inyan. The ayin has a yechelis to make a new thing. It's a whole different gather. So it's not a yechelis to express himself, which then will be al derech seichel midas. That the reason why midas comes from seichel is because seichel is expressed through midas. It's behemshach the seichel. Ayin v'yesh, the ayin and the yesh bein arech. From wann takestantis from the elion's point of view that he's a makkah for a yesh. Because the ayin is not mugdal, he creates a different inyan. So creating means not that his mahus, his ruchnis, is being expressed through this yesh. He's making something detached of himself. So that's his house in the Rechamela. Not that he's miskarif to be mislabish in the yesh. Versteht the meaning? So al derech is saying the Ratzon Elam and Ratzon Gali. Saying it's not the Ratzon Elam, it's al derech yesh ma'ayin. Because if there's a Ratzon Pnimi be'etzem v'nefesh to an inyan, and the etzem v'nefesh is not mugbal, if the etzem v'nefesh is not mugbal, that's very not Ratzon Gali. Not because he's a mocker, but they're a chiyuvi to the Ratzon Gali. It's not a different eifin. If the Pnimi is nafshik, there's a Ratzon for kach v'kach, but the Chamela there's going to be it's going to realize the poil. There'll be a Ratzon Gali. Not because the tnu of Ratzon Gali is expresses. It's a different word. Since the Pnimi is halakus in Ein Sof, in Ein Sof is all the birds saying that should be Elamis. If in Ein Sof there's Ratzon for Elamis, we even without being miskarev to the gather of poil, v'zayin azeh, because it's Ein Sof. Aderech like v'yesh ma'ayin. The reason why in the yesh, the ayin is mahava the yesh, not because the ayin is a shaykhis to the yesh, because the ayin is be'erech yesh. Fakert, because he can make a davar chodesh. He can make something new. He's not limited to only be a reason for things, which are be'erech him. He could make new things. Al derech zeh legabe Ratzon Mochot and Ratzon Gali. Versteht ein bisschen the meaning. So So that's then in the brackets, it goes into a whole shakotari here. You learned it inside. Just learn the bissel.
Ask him the brackets.
Maybe I'll just go through. Just it's not nishta as a shvera ma'isa. Once you have the, but the nakuda that he's saying in the brackets, saying in the pnim, he's been very very strong that from both points. Simit Sad, we have the mihave, we have the act, the cause, and we have the result. We have the makar, and we have the tetzah and makar. We have two efanim. One efan is that the makar has to be miskarev to the davar animshech imenu. The mihave is miskarev to the mishave. Another efan is that the mihave stays mufshit. He stays in his element, and b'derech hamele v'erter mishave. What's the talion? If the mihave is, if the reason why the mishave, the tetzah, is nimshach from the makar, means why is he a makar for the sinyan? Is because the makar is shayches to the sinyan, the makar is be'erech. Then it means behemshach to inyani of seichel vert midis. Then the midis have to be hemshach to seichel. To have zayna eslapshins. Mashiach of seichel is n'tunu of afshata. So then he's not in a mode that he should be a beginning for midis. So it has to be derech eslapshins. Seichel mitzad etzem mahusa is movable from midis. But how is he a makar for midis? Because the seichel is miskarev. He's only miskarev. He's only because he has a shaykhs to midis. Yeah, the shaykhs is through that he's miskarev and he's mislabish to have a shaykhs to the gather of midis. Mashiach by yesh ma'ayin. Mashiach by yesh ma'ayin. The reason why mitzvah the ayin is a makar for the yesh. The ayin is not a makar for the yesh. It's not that the yesh is masim to inyoni of the ayin. The ayin is chveis dvar avaya. Dvar avaya is ein seif. Chveis blikvo. Rikiya gashmi doesn't express the lukus, doesn't express blikvo, doesn't express chveis dvar avaya that says you hear rakia. Here is the gashmi is the gewalt. So the Santa Pshat that the ayin is a makar to the rakia gashmi al derech like seichel is a makar for midis because the dvar avaya is hashlama. Let's say he's going to result in a world. How is he going to result in a world? The world doesn't express him at all. It doesn't come behemshach to him. Dvar avaya is a lukus, and this is a nivra gashmi. There's no comparison b'chal. So what's the pshat of the ayin is a makar for the yesh? Because he can be machadish, he can make something new, which has no shaykhis to him. So that he calls it havas derech hamela. Means the ayin. So in that case, does the ayin have to lower himself down? Doesn't have to lower himself down. Saiva says be'en arech. Why is this havas? Is because he's not limited, and who amar vayay, whatever he's able to make something new, so he can stay in his element. He doesn't have to be miskarev, mislabish in the whole. That's what he says in the pnim. Yeah, das versteht man.
Yeah.
So auf dem Fakt, der most Luchur steht verkehrt. Most steht verkehrt. Es ist Punkt verkehrt. That by Ilava Alul, it's a different to know a little bit, but it says, what he says in the Pnim, before that goes, verstandig. Sagt says, Agam de Luchur ulehepich. Ila v'alul yesh alulu rak ruchni be'erech ila. Hari unims mizgal derech hamela meila. V'yesh ma'an ma'achar sheyesh n'erech ein klal. Ich esam b'derech hamela. Ich esam b'derech hamela davar shvein arech. You can dafka dish ma'av mesa. It's punkt verkehrt. On the other hand, if you have two things shabbat erech zalazeh, it's a pashta cheshma, it's the same. It's not a stir of these two things. It says, you say seichel is meilid midis. We'll take it from the alien's point of view. Why is seichel a makkah from midis? Because it's the hemshech to understanding that it's good, and as a result of that is going to be a midas av. Why? So why is seichel a makkah for midas? It's not exeres hakosov because it's masim that once you understood that it's good, it's going to be a midas. So seichel, the inyan seichel is nishlam, let's say, through midas. So now, once you understand that it's good, you're going to have to activate the midah. The seichel is going to have to be mahava midah. You don't have to be mahava. Once the seichel, the teva davar is nirgash b'leiv, why is seichel a makkah for midas? Because the hemshech the seichel comes midas. So once the seichel, a person understands that something is good, automatically he's going to have a midas av. You don't have to make it. You don't have to make it happen. You understand what I'm saying? Mashiach by yesh ma'ayin, since the ayin is shalei be'erech yesh, so when you have an ayin, you can have a yesh automatically. When you have an ayin, you have an ayin. You can have an ayin. Dvar avay, you have malchus datzilus. Dibur v'lukus. From them, it's very yesh. How is there a yesh going to be from an ayin? There's shalei be'erech clause. There's no shayches clause. Zemizeh. Because the Eibusher wants. So the ayin has to be mishtadel that something which is not me should be created. That happened derech hamela. But derech hamela, a person, the Indian that bleiben wie is with derech hamela. Derech hamela, you're not going to have something which is not me being mishabed. In order for there to be a makar, and that it's so is shalei berech makar to happen, that it has to happen with derech some. It has to be nishav. It has to be made. So it's punkt verkehrt the Nekuda he's saying before. Before he's saying that by Savas Ilav all the Ilah is miskaret to all. And here he's saying by Mashik by Yeshma'ayin is derech hamela. And here says the Yeshma'ayin is dafka b'derech pula. But I'm saying, but both points are both. It's not stam. I'm saying both are nyanim which are understood. You understand the saying we understand the Gabi Ilav all both Nekudas are tali zebazeh. Understand the sinyan. Since what I'm saying is, if you have, I'm saying doing whatever Talmud just brings out the point. This point, it brings it out clear. You have the Rav is Masber Seichot Talmud. So if the Rav is going to explain the Seichot the way he understands it, the Talmud is never going to understand it. Talmud can't verstehen. Whereas the Rav has to lower himself down, that the svara that he's saying should be behesim to the Me'ech Talmud. Does the Rav? So what's the Rav working on? What's the Rav being mitzvah? What is that? It doesn't have to be mislavish that the Talmud should understand. He has to lower his svara down that it should be in a mode that the Talmud should register. Once the svara is harav, he explains it, let's say in Eisi, is Rabbi Erech the Talmud. Is he going to have to now make sure the Talmud registers the Inyan? Or once the Inyan is Lefi Erech HaTalmud, but maybe the Talmud would understand. When the Inyan was mufshit, it wasn't Be'erech HaTalmud. B'shas the Seichel Harav now, the svara that he understood, is now Be'erech HaTalmud. But maybe the Talmud can understand. You don't have to do a special pull for the Talmud to understand. You understand what I'm saying?
Just make it available.
The Teva Dvarim is that it's a Seichel, it's Behesen to the Talmud, he'll understand it. It's not a Chiddush. No, he's not making Chiddushim over here. When Seichel is being Seichel is not a Makkah which is Mechadesh Midas. What I'm saying is the reason why Mitzvah Seichel is it's a natural thing. That's the way the characteristics of things have to be. When a person understands that something's good, as a result of understanding, you'll have a feeling. Why does that happen? Seichel has to activate a feeling. You don't have to activate a feeling. Understanding, B'derech HaMeidah brings a feeling. Why doesn't that Seichel become a midah? Because that's inside the Nyani of Seichel. As a continuation to Seichel, there's going to be a midah. So once you can have Seichel, you don't have to activate the midas. But le'idach, so that's why it's called midas B'derech HaMeidah from Seichel. Once you understand that it's good, you don't have to activate and tell the heart to feel. Once you understand it, automatically there's going to be a midah. Why? Because that's natural. Once you understand that it's good, automatically there's a midah. But in order that the seichel should be be'erech hamidus, he has to be mislabish. He doesn't have to be mislabish to create the nifal. He has to be mislabish that he should be in a mode of being a source for the nifal automatically to happen. You understand the meaning? So on one hand, the nira is slapshus. What I'm saying is, since the eifin, that the makir, that the mehave, the cause, the reason why the cause is a source for the effect is because the makir is in yoni is to bring this tetzah. The mele, on one hand, he has to be b'kiruf to the tetzah, because the reason why he's a makir for it is because it's the hemshech to his inyan. So he's gonna have to be in the same hemshech as the tetzah. A makar for the tetzah. But le'idach, once he's in a state of being a makar, once he lowers himself down, automatically the tetzah is going to happen. Yeah. You hear this nekuda? Mash'egin by yeshma'ayin is fakert. On one hand, the ayin has no shaychas klal to the yesh. So on one hand, the ayin, before the ayin is going to be mitzamtzim itself to a lower level, there's never going to be a yesh. Being mitzantzim yourself to a lower level is always going to stay in the mizgaris of ayin, which is shalei be'erech to yesh. So there's no need for the ayin doesn't have to lower himself to get closer to the yesh, because anyway the ayin of the yesh will be in arech. But if the ayin is going to stay in ayin with kemol deshvarim ken yesh eichnish, mitzadinyani of the ayin gufa, mitzadinyani of the ayin is not going to be a yesh. It's not when you have an ayin automatically you can have a yesh. So he's going to have to activate the yesh. The reason why the yesh happens is because the ayin wants the yesh to happen. It's not the hemshech to the ayin verta yesh. So there's a tnu of a slapshus on one hand, because he has to activate that the yesh should take place. But there's no slapshus in the sense that the ayin doesn't have to be yated from its muhus. And I'm saying is, there's no erech between the ayin and the yesh. But the reason why tak is the ayin mahava yesh, because the ayin is not mugbal. But in order for that blig vol to activate a yesh, the ayin's going to have to be mitzvah and say, I would like a yesh to take place. I want my blig vol mitzvah. He's not mugbal; he's able to be mechadesh, but I'll have to. Only bertzene there should be a yesh. Because without the only bertzene, the way the ayin is mitzvah, if it bleiben an ayin, there's not going to be a yesh. You get the close union. Let's see what it says in the since the olul is be'erech ila, the way I'm saying it is, since the tetzah is a natural result of the makir, it's the hemshech to the makir, it's the same erech. Means since the olul is the same mohus as the ila, it means why is the ila makir for the olul? Because the olul is the hemshech. The meila, you have to, it's b'derech hameila. Means without the ayin being mahave, activating a yesh. The ayin mitzad as a bleibt ayin. Bleibt bleiben ayin, why should it be a yesh? Ich habe der Gemälde da was wir nach. Kim darf kadish mahave mis. Sie haben es keinu. Shalom haben der Gemälde meila. Zeu darf ke sheile mistabash ze babin all. Means when is the all mahave der Gemälde? When the ilatak is a mucker. Is in the misgeras of the all. So there say khlamidis. Take the midas, the seichel doesn't have to be activated midas. Why? Because that's natural. I'm versteht that's good. The midas can have an ava, but that's only when the understanding that it's good is such an understanding which is a source for midas to happen. But even if the understanding is in the seichel mupshit, nothing to do with then the seichel is not a marker for midas. It's a chisarn in the seichel. The seichel is not in a mode of being an aleph for midas. Midas is going to come automatically from seichel, but only when the seichel is going to be a marker for midas. V'hainu mispash is ilam have all the derech kumei beseichel midas shamidas some derech mela ben seichel kasher maskal is davar yeshut hevik hay gavne miser memela be'aval is it. If you understand something's mos, you'll have a sinner towards it. He says it's going to happen derech mela. Aber zeh dav kasher maskal b'shas me versteht das so gut. Avlim la yaskal b'zeh l'tiyah mitachulu. V'nimtza der seichel nit was mispal besavu means he has to take it verstehen as so gut. And as I'm a certain verstand, as the head werden leib. Mas enken wir schmaayin, it is like, huh?
He needs to have
the seichel has to be a marker for midas.
So you can't have this.
I'm saying take the dogma of seichel.
And not be a marker for midas.
That's but he has to be in a tnu of being maskal that is good.
So like as soon as he has this skull, it's going to
So he means he's going to have to understand it. If the seichel the way there's a koyach is not going to be a marker for midas. So taking the same oifen as a Rav and a Talmud, it would be the same type of thing. To consider the Talmud's understanding a pu'ula of the Rav. But how does that pu'ula happen? Does the Rav have to make that pu'ula? On one hand, it's Derech Mela, on one hand, it's Derech Slapshus. On one hand, he doesn't have to make the Talmud understand. There's never a tnur that he's working with the Talmud understand this svara. He's lowering down his svara. Once it's lowered down, automatically the Talmud understands. Once you speak the Inyan Lefi Erkai, so the Mekabel grasps it. You don't have to affect the Mekabel to grasp it. Because why does the Talmud understand? Because it's the Talmud, the Rav is Mechadesh, not Mechadesh. That's a Tetzah. B'shas, the Seichel Rav is Behesem to the Talmud, automatically, it's very nice, kach v'kach. So why does Midas happen from Seichel? When the heart understands that it's good, there's a Midah. So for that you need, but the heart has to understand. It means the understanding has to be in a mode where it's taka in a state of being made of the middle. I'm saying if you look at in any makir, which the way makir that the way we know it, that the reason why the makir is a sibur for a titzah is because in yani of the makir, this result has to happen. It's the hemshech to the content of the makir. So what's the pshat v'hemshech to the content of the makir? So the makir activates it, or if you have this content, automatically you have this result. What do you mean you have to activate something? Activate in RCL doesn't make sense. What do you have to activate it? If your inyan brings that result, so then if you have your inyan, vidvern the result. What do you have to make it for? What does it mean you have to activate something? If you're a makir for that, that means that it's at your inyan. That has to happen. So if your inyan is there, that's going to happen. What do you have to make it for? So that's the derech hameila. But le'idach, he has to be in a mode of being a makir. But if the seichel is in an abstract mode, he's not that aspect within himself. that he's a mucker for midas is not bizgalus, in seichos tnu it's behelim, then nothing's going to happen. So you need a slapsh is that the mucker should be in a tnu of being a mucker. But once the mucker is taking a tnu of his pashtus, b'mele, when he's mispashet, there's this and this result. Mashik Nishmayin is punkt verkehrt. Mashik Nishmayin says, Shikam Yeshmayin, Hagam Sha'ayin tzorch lavis hayesh. It's not shaykh to say, he has to activate it, that's what he's saying. By Yesh Ma'ayin, the ayin, it's nicht genug that the ayin should be in a state of ispashtus. Like by Seichel Rav, let's say. It's enough that the Seichel Rav is in a state of ispashtus in a way that the Seichel Talmud should be barricaded. The ayin will be ispashtus, it can yesh nish werden, because the ayin yesh ve'en arech. Ha'ayin tzarech lahavis hayesh. He has to actively make it. Mispashtus ha'ayin leis hava yesh derech hamele. Ki kama she'ispashtus ya'kel b'chinas ayin, she'en berech hayesh klal. Tim tzarech ha'ayin lahavis hayesh, something else. But when the ayin, on the other hand, is the ayin bekiruv to the yesh? Does the ayin come be'erech the yesh? Avada not? The im hoya ayin nitfas mispol b'shavas yesh means if the ayin would be biskarev to the gather yesh, then it wouldn't be a yesh. If it will be Adar I means that the seichel is miskarev to the midah, it's nirgash in the midah. The leaf is margish at teva dover. So the yesh should be margish, the ayin. So people that yesh, he would have a shaykh similarity to the ayin, and it's not a yesh. So in a ayin it was mispol by yesh. The ayin bleibt an ayin, and that's what Hachodesh has v'chinas yesh. But mikomekem is dafke through his habus. Ayin mahave dafke yesh, lishim have a meila. Leidoch, if the ayin trachnish or is not focused on a yesh being nesavet zvenken yesh. So what's the pshat? So in his havas yesh, what is all bertzenim v'chinas ayin havas yesh? It's all bertzenim. V'aratz masu shim is ayis havas. That's not exactly what he said, but what he says is the key. It's not the pshat. The ayin has the ayin. There's a tnu of ratzon. Means from the ayin's point of view, there has to be a tnu that there should be the yesh. Let's see the lashon that he says here. Oh, but then the Yishchan Zayin Havas Hayesh. V'aratzim Ashi Yim Yisrael Havas. V'aratzim Mchinas Richik Ba'avdol. Shmisol Ba'atzim Adavar Shereitze. Zeo Sheis Havas Yidaf Gishayim Havas Hayesh. V'hainik Sh'oli Bertzene Shiyim Yitzias Yesh. Aval Ini Nitvas Mispol B'es Havas Zeis. V'zeo Shenis Bar Shavas Derech Melech. Nashinu Havas Mispol V'nitvas B'zeh. Mitas Ini Eichu Ma'u Ini Muvalonu. Kin Mivroyam Leish Klal Dugmas Ini Yeshmayim. Ino Neyedim Eichu. Amal zeh movement should be hecher chleimar she'enim mispol b'zeh. The Malek Anei b'chinas kirov. It's chlis havas to do with some have. Now we understand. Me'achar she's havas b'chinas ein areich b'hecher shema have einin nitfis mispol b'zeh. So how we? But leidach, if the ayin is not in the tnua of being mahava the yesh, but the shver ken yesh. So if them zog, shlevar zek tzash zah der rotzen. She'oli b'tzein yichulu kanal. Zevesh bin ilu l'si, but the ilu shem zgal misabash davar la'veis, im ilu slov ba'atzim b'zeh. The siba shin is gam misabash b'kin, the siba gerem al davar merachik shav derech milu. This is slov ba'atzim b'adavar. That means the reason he doesn't. He says that in the Vrem Nishtar Zamasrut Musik, but in the Kudabef and Klali is Ayin Mahaves Hayesh is not because the Ayin has a shaykhs to the yesh. It's because the Ayin is not mugbal. But you're not going to say mitzad, but not b'derchamela v'tanishvern. But derchamela is an ayin. Derchamela v'tanishvern yesh. So there has to be the tunu of all the bertzein. From the point of view of the ayin, there's a meshikha for the yesh. The document that brings from Ratzin is that the kesher to the nifal is only from the elyon. It's not a prat in the nifal. That's the document that it brings from Ratzin. Ratzin, you have a document in the nefesh for a tnua that the nefesh, from its point of view, say when a person was. If a person wants, let's say, to write, a person wants to sing, a person wants to dance, a person wants different things. So, it's not that there's a different ratzon for writing, and a different ratzon for jumping, and a different ratzon for learning. The same tnu meshichas nefesh. What when you say seichel, every svara, a deep svara or a svara shitchis, or according to the topic, what the svara is, will be a different If it's a edel azach will be edel svara. Say a lower thing will be a lower svara. By ratzon, you don't say that a ratzon for something edel is a more edel ratzon, and a ratzon for something grub, let's say, is a ratzon is b'shichas hanefesh. It's not melubish in the thing that it wants. Ratzon is that the way the eye is itself, is drawn to a certain thing, towards a certain thing. Not that the ratzon is affected by the thing that he wants. There's writing, let's say. The ratzon is not. I'm drawn towards doing that. So he brings a dogma from the alien having a shaykhs to the tachten, without the alien being mitzumtzum lefi erech tachten, without the tachten having a shaykhs to the alien. That's the dogma that he brings of ratzon, to bring the musik of how, what's the tunu of his slapshus from the point of view of the ayin lahavas yesh. On one hand, you can't say that the ayin is malubish, that he's bekiruf to the yesh, because then it's a stira to his havas yishmayim. But on the other hand, if the ayin bleibt ayin, but kein zachen sein. So he brings a dogma of ratzon, that from the ayin's point of view, he's a sibba that the tachten should be nisab. But even though he's a sibba, it's not has nothing to do with the tachten. It's all from his point of view. That's the dogma of ratzon. Ratzon is that from the point the nefesh is nimshach towards it, but it's not that right that it's not a prat in writing.
It's not the kid to the poor.
Yeah, I'm saying usually you say a person understands a certain thing, or you feel certainly anything. A person understands the way the table is made. So the understanding, you understand the havana of the thing. There's a havana, there's a certain logic on how the table is made, and you right now comprehended this logic. A person likes something, so that means you're in touch now with the goodness of the thing. When you want something, it's not that there's an aspect of the thing that it's a willful thing. There's not that this thing has a tnu of ratzon is I am interested in this. I'm drawn towards it. It's not a prat in the inyan. Ratzon is the nefesh. The nefesh is not affected by the thing. It's the way the person is detached from it, and he's drawn towards that thing. It's a different inyan. The kidduv is only mitzad the alien. It's not that the tachten contains, and there's no connection between the tachten and the alien. The whole kesher is only mitzad the alien. Usually, when you have an yichud, if the alien lowers himself down to relate to the tachten, that means that the tachten has a certain connection to the alien. That's usually the way it is. If I understand it, that means there's a certain aspect of the thing that has a relation with me. But Ratzon, you don't say that since you want it, there's a certain aspect of this thing that relates to me. There's no aspect that relates to me from the object's point of view. The whole kesher from Ratzon is from the point of view of the nefesh. So that's it means a dogma. That's the eifin akiro by Yisavas Yishmayim. Yeah, that's the inyan of Hemshech Gadai. It's inyan that needs these are musagim that need yishvadas. But I'm just giving you the. If versteht eifin klar the inyanim. Yeah, but this means what's Valare is bringing. See what he wants to bring out. He wants to bring out that Ak is the Ratzon Agoli. And it's be'ein reklalik by the way it is lifnei at Tzimtzum. Mashek and Atzilis is better. I have to see the. So you want to learn Thursday night? You said as a svara. Leilam halter bei. Okay, so Thursday night. But hab's verstanden da the Indian. You get this idea that Ratzon, the Shaykhs, the Shverka that is dealing with over here is, on one hand, being get to Yesh Ayin v'Yesh, since the Yesh is Shalei Be'erech to the Ayin. See, it's not Shaykh to say that Be'erech HaMeile, when you have the Ayin, automatically there'll be the Yesh. This is automatic. Without anything happening, you have an Ayin. That's Nizankin Yesh. Le'idach, so what do you mean? The Ayin has to focus, Kaviyach. Has to relate to the Yesh. If there's a kidduv to the yesh, then there's an erech. If the alien, there's any kidduv to the yesh, any tnu of kidduv klal, but the rechamela means that there's an erech within the yesh and ayin. So then he's not legamri yesh mayim. So that's what he finds. He says the dogma that it's only bertzeni b'day. Ratzon, the dogma that we have by Nevraim, that there's a kesher only mitzad an alien. but as not doesn't mean that the tachten has a shaykhis that you find by Ratzon. As a mensch versteht, when you understand a topic, that means that it's not only from your point of view you relate it to the topic. So the topic now, there's a certain element in the topic that relates to you. The Havana of the topic, that's also part of the topic. The Havana of the topic was discovered by you. Because there's a certain shaykhis now between this chayfetz and the other. Others a midas. If you like something, so the goodness of the apple darten relates to you. Told you, if a person doesn't like, let's say, the juicy things, so juice has no shaykhis to this person, let's say. The minute you like it, what does it mean you like it? That the good of this, you sense it, you're taken by it. So now this, not only that from your point of view, you're related to it. If you're related means that this thing has a shaykhis to you. By Ratzon, I want, means the I, which is not affected by anything. I'm not touched by the juiciness, I'm not touched by anything. I want this thing. That's Ratzon. There's no reason why I want, not because the thing relates to me. Not because there's something in the thing which impacts me. I'm mufshit from the inyan, and all the birds sign it to be nimshach to the inyan. So the whole kesher between the chayfetz and the nefesh ha'adam by Ratzon is all from the point of view of the nefesh, that he's right to the inyan. But the inyan has no shaykhis to him. It's not to say after a person wants something that there's the fact that the apple affects will relates. The apple doesn't affect will. Will is all the trumas at the nefesh ha'adam. But there's no prat of the chayfetz when you speak about Ratzon. So that's what brings a dogma that is the kid of the ayin v'yesh. The whole kid is all from the point of view of the ayin. From the point of view of the yesh, the ayin is the ein arechilov. And that's going to stay always bein arechilov. Arakia Gashmi has no shaykhis to Dvar Havai. Dvar Havai, but the Eibush is only bert seinim ahavas anayesh. Means eret has a gewalt. Is nicht mugbul. Eret gewalt ahavas anayesh. So mitzad the fact that it's blik gvul to get vil rayesh. So mitzad the misgeres of gvul, there's no shaykhis to yesh. But only bert seinim means from his point of view hat the gewalt. He's not mugbul in eret gewalt hayesh. And that's enough of a kiruv as over in the yesh. Or that's a dogma of a kiruv that because the ayin is not mugbal. But even though the ayin is not mugbal, he can have a Hachodesh. If he doesn't, if without having his habus, without focusing on making the Hachodesh, it's garnish shver. But so if there's a kiruv, it comes to chayes that the tachna as a shaykhis. So the kiruv that al derech Ratzon. It's only a kiruv. It's at the elyon. The elyon, from his point of view, it focuses on the tachna. But the tachna doesn't contain him. There's no erech. From the tachna's point of view, there's no erech klal. Because the whole there's no kiruv really. Mitzat eref, there's no kiruv at all. Viver takayesh, because the ayin is not, because the ayin can be mahavad over Hachodesh. So it's all from the point of view of it's all mahavad over Hachodesh. Dafür trachten again. So you only need a kiruv from the ayin's point of view. You don't need mitzat yesh. That's the dogma. He brings the dogma of Ratzon. Yeah, this is in Yana Mamukim Abisul. This is. Yeah, but what he's trying to say is that the Ratzon brings here the gather of Ratzon Nelam and Ratzon Goli he brings a dugma when they get to Lifnat Tzimtzum L'Achrat Tzimtzum. Okay, well, we'll see this prat next time. This is the Dorish Benach. Okay, we'll go through Dorish Benach. The Dorg in the meaning.
So the Ratzon Goli is no mahus.
There's no erch. The Ratzon Goli is already a dover ashayich lapel. It's to be the nevesh and the tnu of yitzir me'atzmei. Then there's the etzem hus hanefesh. The etzem hus hanefesh, the way etzem hus b'fnei atzmei. And that tnuah has no erech to the nevesh is already a makkah for a zulas, a shaychus to zulas. Shaychus to zulas, that's already the makkah is a yetzem imuhusay. It's bein arech. The Ratzon Goli is where the nevesh is in a state of attachment to something that doesn't reflect what the nefesh is be'etzem mahusa, that it's a mahus b'fnei atzmei. And of course, Mashtark is saying lifnei tzimtzum. He's saying the tnuah of lifnei tzimtzum is that hula vadi huve ein zelase. A tnuah that there's a lukus and there's a mucker for a veld for a mitzias, a shaychus to mitzias in the most edlos to efen possible is not shaykh lifnei tzimtzum, and it's be'en arech klal zelazeh. You have the way the nefesh is b'muhus b'fnei atzma, and the way the nefesh is a mocker for a zulas. There's no erech klal. The muhus hapnimis of the nefesh, and the fact the nefesh is a mocker for a metzias, or is a need for a metzias. Let's say there's no erech klal. Okay, we'll have to see the.
This is the wants the yesh that shows that the yesh does exist in its.
No, from the yesh's point of view. Oliver Tzeni is no, but Oliver Tzeni is not a mocker. No, but Oliver Tzeni.
A kid wants one type of thing and an adult wants different thing.
No, I mean, that's not real Ratzin. If it's because the Nevesh has if you speak that, you're saying Midas more. It's not a Geder of Ratzin. Geder of Ratzin is that the Ratzin has nothing to do with the Dover Sharetzabay. The same Ratzin that you want, or the same Ratzin that you had when you were a kid, that you want to chveis apples, the same exact Ratzin, it's not a different nature of a Ratzin. The Zelbe Koyach. Ratzin is the same. See, a svara from a narishkeit, there's two different svaras. The svara amuka is a svara shitchis, or there's a reichere regesh, or a more chveis prosta regesh. Ratzin is ein ratzin. The tnu of I want or will is not modeled according to the thing that you want. It's the tnu. It's the meshichas hanefesh. It's the zelbe nefesh. And is nimshach. Will. The ratzin is not lefi ereth the dover sharetz.
But if my ratzin gets attached to certain things,
it's not really attached. It's not the way midas get attached. The ratzin doesn't get. The ratzin wants certain things. Doesn't get attached. The ratzin is not lefi ereth the things that he wants. Will verschiedene Sachen. He stays a mahutz of ratzin.
That's always going to be one plane.
Yeah, it's always a mahutz of will.
And midas will decide what.
Yeah. The eichos and midas is going to change according to the thing that he wants. It's the thing when they have a kiruv inside the alien, but they're still be'in the tafmeder. But yeah, that's the animal mokim.
If I like Ratzah Mochat, there's no difference whether it's even fulfilled or not.
Yeah, but the nimshal for sure. Yeah. I'm saying the Eibishur Lifnat Simpson doesn't need anything. Yeah, it's a whole different. Yeah.
So that shows how removed it is from.
Yeah, the nefesh is not mugdal. Yeah, that's what Mamshel is saying.